Cheers. Good afternoon and welcome to another Tea and Chat with me, Basil from Trowbridge Library. It's very nice to be back on and be reading some poems to you again. I haven't done it for a very long time. So today what we're going to be doing is doing a few Thomas Hardy poems to celebrate the opening in the museums in Devizes and in Salisbury and in Poole and in Dorchester, a celebration of Thomas Hardy's work and lots of artefacts from his life. So I'm going to start with a poem from Thomas Hardy, a very famous one, all about where he grew up and where he was born. This poem is in the fantastically thick book, The Complete Poems of Thomas Hardy. So it's called Domicilium, and I hope you enjoy it. It faces west, and round the back and sides high beeches bending and hang a veil of boughs and sweep against the roof. Wild honeysuckles climb on the walls and seem to sprout a wish, if we may fancy wish of trees and plants, to overtop the apple trees hard by. Red roses, lilacs, variegated box are there in plenty, and such hardy flowers as flourish best untrained. Adjoining these are herbs and esculents, and further still a field, then cottages with trees, and last the distant hills and sky. Behind, the scene is wilder. Heath and furze are everything that seems to grow and thrive upon the uneven ground. A stunted thorn stands here and there indeed, and from a pit an oak uprises, springing from a seed dropped by some bird 100 years ago. In days bygone, long gone, my father's mother, who is now blessed with the blessed, would take me out to walk. At such a time I once inquired of her how looked the spot when first she settled here. The answer I remember. 50 years have passed since then, my child, and change has marked the face of all things. Yonder garden plots and orchards were uncultivated slopes, o'ergrown with bramble bushes, furze and thorn. That road a narrow path shut in by ferns, which almost trees obscured the passers-by. Our house stood quite alone, and those tall firs and beeches were not planted. Snakes and efts swarmed in the summer days, and nightly bats would fly about our bedrooms. Heath croppers lived on the hills and were our only friends. So wild it was when first we settled here. So that poem by Thomas Hardy is called Domicilium, home, and it's talking about the home that he was born in. He was born in at the cottage in Higher Bockhampton, and it's a memory of how it looked 50 years before he was born there as well. So it's kind of evoking a past age of when things were different. So the theme of today is, as well as being Thomas Hardy poems, I'm looking at the past things and that kind of pastoral view of how England might have been in the past, and remembering that and being a little bit wistful, but also a little bit sort of knowing how things have changed, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. But that first one is Domicilium by Thomas Hardy. Okay, the next one I'm going to read is one that I'm sure a lot of you will know as well. It's called Home Thoughts from Abroad, and it's in the nation's favourite poems, and a lot of the other books poems I'm going to read from this book because it's got a great collection in there. But this one's Home Thoughts from Abroad by Robert Browning, thinking about England while he's abroad. I think you might know it, but it's quite wistful again and quite sort of moving, quite thoughtful about how you might think about England if you're not here. Okay. Home Thoughts from Abroad. Oh, to be in England now that April's there, and whoever wakes in England sees some morning unaware that the lowest boughs and the brushwood sheaf round the elm tree bole are in tiny leaf, while the chaffinch sings on the orchard bough. In England now. And after April, when May follows, and the white throat bills, and all the swallows, hark! Where my blossomed pear tree in the hedge leans to the field and scatters on the clover blossoms and dewdrops at the bent spray's edge. That's the wise thrush. He sings each song twice over, lest you should think he could never recapture that first fine careless rapture. And though the fields look rough with hoary dew, all will be gay when noontide wakes anew. The buttercups, the little children's dower, far brighter than this gaudy melon flower. So he's abroad and remembering lots of nice things from Britain, that maybe England, that maybe we take for granted. I think it's a very nice way of remembering and thinking. Though it's a little bit late, we're now in June, not April or May. But it's still very beautiful outside and in this lovely warm weather. Maybe it's a chance to get out and enjoy that as well. So that's Home Thoughts from England by Robert Browning. I'm going to go a little bit more rhymey poems this time, okay? Which I think hopefully you'll enjoy. It's in the nation's favourite poems, and it's actually by the nation's favourite poet, who is Rudyard Kipling, who wrote If. This one isn't If. This is called The Glory of the Garden. Rudyard Kipling had an amazing garden, which is still available for you to go and visit as well. Rudyard Kipling's The Glory of the Garden. It's a great poem. If you look at it there, it's laid out on the page nice and neatly, and it rhymes as well. So it's a good one to read, okay? The Glory of the Garden. Our England is a garden that is full of stately views, of borders, beds and shrubberies, and lawns and avenues, with statues on the terraces and peacocks strutting by. But the glory of the garden lies in more than meets the eye. For where the old thick laurels grow, along the thin red wall, you find the tool and potting sheds, which are the heart of all. The cold frames and the hot houses, the dung pits and the tanks, the rollers, carts and drain pipes with the barrows and the planks. And there you'll see the gardeners, the man and prentice boys, told off to do as they are bid, and do it without noise. For, except when seeds are planted and we shout to scare the birds, the glory of the garden, it abideth not in words. And some can pop begonias, and some can bud a rose, and some are hardly fit to trust with anything that grows. But they can roll and trim the lawns and sift the sand and loam, for the glory of the garden occupieth all who come. Our England is a garden, and such gardens are not made by singing, "Oh, how beautiful," and sitting in the shade, while better men than we go out and start their working lives at grubbing weeds from gravel paths with broken dinner knives. There's not a pair of legs so thin, nor not a head so thick. There's not a hand so weak and white, nor yet a heart so sick, but it can find some needful job that's crying to be done. For the glory of the garden glorifieth everyone. Then seek your job with thankfulness, and work till further orders, if it's only netting strawberries or killing slugs on borders. And when your back stops aching and your heart begins to harden, you will find yourself a partner in the glory of the garden. Oh, Adam was a gardener, and God who made him sees that half the proper gardener's work is done upon the knees. So when your work is finished, you can wash your hands and pray for the glory of the garden, that it may not pass away. And the glory of the garden, it shall never pass away. That's the glory of the garden. Not forgetting all the detailed work, the hard work that goes into making a garden look lovely. This is probably written in the Edwardian times, when people had gardeners in their gardens. It's less the case now, isn't it? But those who like gardening are out all the time. I'm out every morning watering the pots in my back garden as well, especially when it's sunny like it is now as well. Okay, so that's The Glory of the Garden by Rudyard Kipling. Now, while I was looking for poems for today, I discovered that the day I'm actually reading these poems on today is the 14th of June, and it's W.B. Yeats's birthday. So I'm going to do a W.B. Yeats poem. It's an Irish one, and it's a little bit more whimsy and a little bit more wild than gardens, but it's a very lovely one, and I really like it. So it's W.B. Yeats' song, The Song of the Wandering Angus. I went out into the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and I cut and peeled a hazel wand and hooked a berry on a thread. And when white moths were on the wing and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame, but something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. It's a very lovely one. The Song of the Wandering Angus, a little bit more mystical than perhaps the more prosaic one of Rudyard Kipling's Garden. I hope you enjoyed those. Okay. Right, now it's really warm, really lovely, really midsummery. I am going to do another poem from another book. This is from the A Nature Poem for Every Night of the Year, okay? We're in mid-June now. The one, it's actually the poem for the 20th of June, so a little bit early, but not very much, okay? But it's a favourite of mine, really evokes lovely, warm, hot, sunny days. Addlestrop by Edward Thomas. Addlestrop by Edward Thomas. Yes, I remember Addlestrop, the name, because one afternoon of heat the express train drew up there unwontedly. It was late June. The steam hissed. Someone cleared his throat. No one left, and no one came. On the bare platform, what I saw was Addlestrop, the name, and willows, willow herb, and grass, and meadow sweet, and haycocks dry, no whit less still and lonely fair than the high cloudlets in the sky. And for that minute a blackbird sang close by, and round him, mistier, further and further, all the birds of Oxfordshire and Gloucestershire. I love that last bit. The blackbird singing close by, and then all the birds singing around by. You can really imagine the scene. Addlestrop, the station's still there on the borders of Oxfordshire and Gloucestershire, and you can see the poem on the platform, and sadly the trains no longer run. That's from A Nature Poem for Every Night of the Year, one of those beautiful books that's got a poem for every day of the year. Okay, so you can do one every day and keep going. Okay, I'll put that back over there. And I'm going to just have a quick little swig of tea because I'm feeling quite thirsty. Cheers. While I was researching for this, I also found in a cupboard at the back of Trowbridge Library a wonderful tea set, the knitted tea set I've got here, of a knitted cup and saucer and a teapot. And in fact, behind the teapot, I've got a little milk jug as well, with milk in as well. Luckily, it doesn't pour out. It made me smile, so I thought I'll put those there as a little ornament behind me. Okay. Right, I'm going to do another poem. This is about the windhover, okay, the falcon, possibly a sparrowhawk, I suspect, as well. It's by Gerald Manley Hopkins. A very great poem, I think. Really one that kind of takes a lot of understanding all the words, but I think you get the flavour of it just from the way it sounds. This is how I think of this one anyway. I really enjoy it. Gerald Manley Hopkins, The Windhover. To Christ our Lord. I caught this morning's minion kingdom of daylight's dauphin, dappled dawn-drawn falcon, in his riding of the rolling level underneath him steady air, and striding high there, how he rung upon the rein of a wimpling wing in his ecstasy, then off forth on swing, as a skate's heel swoops smooth on a bow bend, the hurl and gliding rebuffed the big wind. My heart in hiding stirred for a bird, the achieve of, the mastery of the thing. brute, beauty, and valour, and act. Oh, air, pride, plume, here, buckle, and the fire that breaks from thee, then a billion times told lovelier, more dangerous, oh, my chevalier. No wonder of it. Sheer plod makes plough down Sicilian shine, and blue beak embers, ah, my dear, fall, gall themselves, and gash gold vermilion. Quite a lot to take in there, but a great poem with lots of lovely alliterative things. Dappled dawn, drawn falcon, brute, beauty, and valour, and act. Oh, air, pride, plume, here, buckle. Kind of get a real sense of movement and energy and beauty and fierceness. I think it's a really lovely poem, that one. The Windhover. I think it's probably a sparrowhawk, the falcon. It doesn't actually say, but you can imagine him above there and then diving down maybe to get some prey. Wonderful. So that's The Windhover by Gerald Manley Hopkins. Okay, and I'm going to finish with another poem by Thomas Hardy. This one's also kind of quite after following The Windhover. He would have seen The Windhovers, I am sure, in this poem. He has written hundreds of poems, nearly 1,000 poems in the complete collected works here. But this one is called Wessex Heights. And it's just quite nice. I think it's quite nice to yearning to be back to something that's more peaceful than maybe where you are now. It's a little bit sort of sad and wistful, but I think a very nice one to finish with as well. Wessex Heights by Thomas Hardy. There are some heights in Wessex, shaped as if by a kindly hand for thinking, dreaming, dying on, and at crisis, when I stand, say, on Inkpen Beacon eastward, or on Will's Neck westwardly, I seem where I was before my birth, and after my death, maybe. In the lowlands I have no comrade, not even the lone man's friend, her who suffereth long and is kind, except what he is too weak to mend. Down there they are dubious and askance. There nobody thinks as I, but mine chains do not clank where one's next neighbour is the sky. In the towns I am tracked by phantoms having weird detective ways, shadows of beings who fellowed with myself of earlier days. They hang about at places and they say harsh, heavy things, men with a wintry sneer, and women with tart disparagings. Down there I seem to be false to myself, my simple self that was, as is not now. And I see him watching, wondering what crass cause can have merged him into such a strange continuator as this, who yet has something in common with himself, my chrysalis. I cannot go to the great grey plain. There's a figure against the moon, nobody sees it but I, and it makes my breast beat out of tune. I cannot go to the tall spired town, being barred by the forms now past, for everybody but me, in whose long vision they stand there fast. There's a ghost at Yellon Bottom, chiding loud at the fall of night. There's a ghost in Froomside Vale, thin-lipped and vague in a shroud of white. There is one in the railway train whenever I do not want it near. I see its profile against the pane, saying what I would not hear. As for one rare fair woman, I am now but a thought of hers. I enter her mind, and another thought succeeds me that she prefers. Yet my love for her in its fullness she herself even did not know. Well, time cures hearts of tenderness, and now I can let her go. So I am found on Inkpen Beacon, or on Will's Neck to the west, or else on homely Bulborough, or little Pilsdon Crest, where men have never cared to haunt, nor women have walked with me, and ghosts then keep their distance, and I know some liberty. So that's called Wessex Heights by Thomas Hardy. Place he goes for peace and solace, watching the Windhover maybe as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed those poems, and I hope it all worked well, and you're able to view this as well. I've just got the little brochure there for the Hardy's Wessex displays in the Dorset Museum over in Dorchester, the Poole Museum in Poole, the Salisbury Museum, and the Wiltshire Museum over in Devizes as well. And Devizes Library, my friends over there have also got a little display of hardy ephemera and memories as well. Well worth having a look at. The exhibition's on until the end of October, so you've got plenty of time over the holidays to get around to see them. But for now, I'll say goodbye to you and wish you a safe June, and enjoy the sunshine and stay safe. Goodbye. Bye.